I'm Christina and welcome to my channel. Normally I do shop with me videos at Five Below and Dollar Tree and Pop Shelf, but today I'm going to be doing a movie review of a seriously awesome horror comedy called Black Sheep. It is not the Chris Farley Black Sheep. This is totally different. This one is incredibly awesome. If you haven't seen it before, which not very many people have, you should probably check it out before I talk about it, because I'm going to give 100% spoilers. I'm going to go through everything. I'm going to talk about the whole thing with you. But they have it. It's free. It's on Freevee and Tubi and Plex, so you can watch it for free. But anyway, while I do that, I'm going to do my face, and I am by no means a professional at doing makeup or hair or anything. I'm just doing my thing. But the makeup I got, it's all from either Five Below, Dollar Tree, or Temu. So if it's Temu, I will put a link to, the makeup in case you want it. But anyway, so let's get started. The movie is called Black Sheep. And it starts out with the boys, which is Henry and Angus. They're on a sheep farm, and they're out herding the sheep on their four-wheelers. I'm gonna wash my face. I'm washing my face with these cocoa butter cleansing wipes from Dollar Tree. Just make sure I get my face clean. I am older and my skin is just dry and oily, different patches all over the place. It's ridiculous. Now I'm going to put on this concealer cream from Temu. Okay, back to the movie. Okay, so Henry is going around looking for his dog, and then he goes to the barn to look, and So Henry goes into the barn, and Angus is in there. His brother gives off big time Joffrey from Game of Thrones vibes. Seriously, he is such a little brat. Anyway, so he jumps out, and he has dismembered a sheep, and he's wearing the sheep's body parts and fur and whatever. And so he jumps out and traumatizes the bejesus out of his brother, as brothers do. And Henry's completely freaking out and totally 100% traumatized, gonna need therapy for the rest of his life. And Miss Mac, which is she's kind of like the grandma kind of caretaker lady. They don't call her the grandma, they just call her Miss Mac. But anyway, she comes out and she tells them about their dad. This is some eye primer, also from Temu. So after Miss Mac tells them about their dad, then we jump to Henry being in a cab. He's in the cab and he is freaking all out because he's coming back to the farm after being gone for since he was 10, so that he could come back and sell his part of the farm to his brother. So next we get to see Grant and Experience. What a name, right? Anyway, these are two animal activists, and they're showing up to the farm, sneaking in, because they want to get proof that, Angus is doing creepy, experiments on the sheepies. And then we see Angus, he's setting up his big presentation, because he's genetically made a really pretty sheepy, and he's going to show it, and so he's getting that all set up. This is LA Colors. This eyeshadow is just, I don't know if you can see, it's bright. It's sparkly kind of. Anyway, it's beautiful, and this, I got it at Five Below. But anyway, so Henry shows up and he finds his brother while he's getting ready for his thing, and he tells him, I came because my therapist said I should come. So it's good for him to deal with it. His brother's all rude, what are you doing here? horrible. So then we see Grant and Experience, and Grant, this guy, like, lordy. Anyway, so he's running down to the lab and he's stealing one of the little jars of like a baby, like, mutated sheepy. He grabs the jar, he's running off, and he's like running through the woods, and the lab people are chasing him, and of course he falls and breaks the bottle. So he falls, breaks the bottle, and then the little sheepy, it comes crawling out, and it's really creepy, and it crawls up like on his shoulder. And I used to have a little stuffed one that I would like crawl up on my kids to play. It was hilarious. They thought it was great. But yeah, so it crawls up on him and it bites him. So after the baby sheepy mutant thing bites Grant, it crawls back off into the woods, and it goes and finds the other sheep, and it's like making this weird like sound, and it finds another sheepy, and then like a sheepy comes up to it like, oh, little baby, and it bites that sheep too. Meanwhile, Henry, he's back at the farm, and Mrs. Mac is telling him, hey, you know what, before you leave, after you sold your part of the farm, she's like, you should take one more last look around, see your home. And so she sends him off with their farm hand, this guy named Tucker, who is great. He's really great. Like, he's insanely important to the story. He's great. So anyway, so they're in the truck, and they're going around, and they're going to go look at the farm, and then they get stopped because there's like a sheep that's been bitten that's in the way, in the road. And it's like, so he has to get out, move it, and then Experience shows up because she's looking for Grant because they got separated during the chase. So Tucker and Henry and Experience, they're gonna go and look for Grant, but they see smoke off in the distance, like a house is like on fire or something. And what it was is this poor old man, he's like cooking himself some like spaghetti, and the sheepies get in. The infected sheepies get in. And so they show up at the house, they come in, it's totally a massive mess, There's major signs of a struggle, and then they hear a noise, and they're like, what is that? And there's a sheepy in the hallway. So, the sheepy in the hallway, it totally charges them. And they run, and they get into a room, and they shut the door, and Henry is freaking all kinds of out. So then, the sheep busts its face through the door, totally Jack Nicholson style from The Shining. Just busts its face out there. Tucker handles it. And then they manage to get themselves back out into the truck so they can get out of there. And so they're going to be leaving. They're going to be getting out of there. But a sheep gets into the cab of the truck. Experience and Henry are in the back. But he gets in, and then, get this, Tucker totally face punches the sheep. And the sheep like shakes it off like it's no thing. Like, bring it on. It's funny. It's so funny. So then, after he punches it, like, he's like, okay, this isn't working. So he's crawling out of the cab and crawls into the back of the truck while it's driving. They're in the back, and they're like, oh, who is driving? They turn around, and it's the sheep. The sheep's sitting there behind the steering wheel. It's just ridiculous, but it's so funny. So anyway, they're going toward a cliff. They jump out the truck. They barely make it. They're sitting there on the side of the cliff. They're looking at this sheep that's standing there like, what? And it starts farting. Like, these sheep have a massive gas problem. Farting all the time. It's hilarious. So back at the lab, they know that they couldn't catch Grant, but they're like, well, you know what? Here's all this other stuff that they were getting rid of, the waste from their experiments. So this one lab guy, he goes to this pit in the ground to go dump all the ew. So he's over there, he's dumping it, and he comes out, and then there's like, the sheep are there. There's like 2 of first, and there's more, and they're like, you know, he's like, whatever, and he starts barking at them, and the sheep have this thing they do, where they dodgeball, fly through the air, and knock people out head first. It's great. It's super great. So, Angus is driving on the road. I think he's off looking for Henry because he knows Henry's cab is still waiting for him. And he comes across Grant, who is just totally messed up by this point. Like, he's mutating, you know, from the infection from getting bit by the baby, you know, the baby sheepy mutant thing. So he sees him and they had their thing. And, you know, Grant bites Angus. It's great. So then we have Tucker and Experience and Henry. They're walking back, trying to, you know, avoid seeing any sheepy. And Tucker starts whining about his foot hurting because, you know, got bit in the truck when he was, you know, trying to drive off. So he starts complaining about that, and he takes his shoe off, and his foot. So yeah, his foot is turning into a sheepy. Tucker is just like the man, you know? He's funny, but he just... Anyway, here he is. He's got a foot that's turned into a sheep, and he's just like, I'm okay, I'm just gonna get a shot. Like, dude. Okay, but then the sheep start, like, charging them, so they gotta run for it, and they run to the lab, because that's the closest place, and they're running into the lab. They get inside the lab, and Angus is in there with this creepy lab lady. She's creepy. So they're in there, and they find out that that Tucker is having like massive foot issues, and so Experience and Henry, they're able to take off running, but they end up at the pit, you know, where all the stuff gets thrown down in the pit, and of course they fall down in the pit, and Angus is totally not cared. He's just like, accidents happen on farms all the time. So they fall down into the nasty ooh pit. Okay, so I'm going to do my eyeliner on the top with this eyeliner pen thing. It is great. I got this on Temu too, and it's got like the little stamp to make your thing. But anyway, so I'm going to use this. Anyway, so Henry and Experience, they're like going through all these tunnels underground, trying to get out of the underground pit thing, and they make it to the barn. Okay, so they get into the barn and they hear a noise.
Oh God, no.
So they hear a noise at the lab. I mean, at the what do you call it? It's the barn, and it's like, it sounds like shearing going on in there, and they show it as Grant in there trying to shear himself because he is just full-blown sheep wereman thing now. And he's in there and he's trying to shave it. And, you know, he sees Henry and Experience, and he starts chasing them down. This is the contour colors that I got from Temu. This is my first time using this, but we're going to start with this brown. I'm going to do my eyebrows. Anyway, so Grant, he sees them and he starts, you know, chasing them down, and in all of this, while they're running for their lives, freaking Experience, she still takes the time, you know, to gripe Grant out for having blood on him. She's like, oh,
have you been eating meat, Grant?
You've been eating meat?
Was it even organic?
Yeah, we can make. So, in the lab lady is giving Tucker some shots of this, like, nasty amniotic fluid stuff from other mutated sheepy things or something. Anyway, so she's giving him that, and he's starting to change back. So, Angus, he goes ahead and goes to his thing where he's, you know, having his presentation. And so he's starting to have his presentation, and a herd of sheep are coming. Like, his pretty sheep is, like, you know, screaming out like, help me, and the herd is coming. They're coming to help her. So they're coming down the hill and they're like attacking people. And then Angus, he like realizes that he's got sheep hand from where he got bit by Grant. Okay, this is some color correct. This is at Five Below. At Angus's presentation, the sheep are rushing in and they are just killing everybody. They are full-on murderers and they're after it now. So they're killing everybody. There's like this woman, she's on her phone and she's getting eaten. And there's this man, he's like trying to like quote the Bible. And the sheep, they do that thing where they dodgeball through the air. Freaking hilarious. So during all this, Miss Mac is driving around and she sees Henry and Experience. She picks them up. So they're cruising back to the farm, and on their way, she just plows a sheep down. It just flies up over the car. They were all extremely happy about it. Angus, he gets his prize sheepy that he loves so much and gets her back to the house. They get back first, and he's in his office, and he's like telling his sheepy it's like gonna all be okay. Anyway, so then Miss Mac and Henry and Experience, they get back, and the sheep are coming. The sheep are following. It's nighttime now, and they're trying to find a phone. And so Henry's like looking for a phone, and there's a phone in Angus's study. He's trying to get into the study, but it's locked. He's having to bust in there. He gets in there. What does he find? He finds Angus in there with no pants.
What are you
with
doing
his sheepy. Grant, he still manages to, to show up at the house, and, they just knock him out. But they had, like, a squabble with him. And then all the, the people who got bit at the presentation thing, they're, like, starting to wake up as were-sheepies. And the house is totally surrounded. And Angus, he's like, I'm leaving. Even though he's totally turning into a sheep. He's like, I'm going to go and infect everybody on the planet. And he has a plane. So he's out, like, getting out his plane and turning his plane on and whatever. And, so the, Henry, he's realizing that he's been bit. Because when he was messing with Grant. So Henry knows that his brother is infected big time and going to get in his plane. So he's like, I've got to stop him, but then like the yard and everything, like between the house and where the plane is a bunch of sheep and were-sheep and whatever. And so he's like trying to think of how he can get past them. So he gets a furry piece of, seat cover and covers up and goes out there, and he's like crawling, and the sheepies, they think that he's another sheepy, but he's been bit though. But yeah, they try to get intimate with him. It's something. So Henry gets away from the sheep who want to give him some love, and he finds his brother. And at this point, Angus is just full on turning into a were-sheep. Like, he's transforming, and it's like American Werewolf in Paris or London. Totally is like that. It's like that transformation. It's epic. So Henry, he's seeing his brother turn full on were-sheep, and he's running for it, and Angus is trying to chase him down. The plane is on, and like the propeller thing is going, and Angus is like trying to get Henry, and like he's not in his right mind because he's turning into a monster. So anyway, the plane is like rolling, and it rolls toward Angus while he's chasing Henry down, and it totally the blades totally mess him up big time. He's not dead, alright? It's nasty. Okay, so for my base, I use a CoverGirl. But I have big pores and my skin is oily and dry and it's a mess and it looks crusty with regular base. It just does. So what I do is I add a little bit, I just put it on this lid, but I add a little bit of the base on here, like so. And then I have this lotion, this face lotion, and I got this at Dollar Tree. And what I do is I just scoop some of this out and add it to the base and mix it all in. And it doesn't change the color at all. And I feel like that keeps it from getting nasty crusty. So, see, it looks the same. So I put this on next. But, okay, so, Angus, he's just gotten completely messed up by the airplane. He's not dead, but he got messed up. And then, the hero of the show, of the movie, Tucker, he shows up. And he's like, he's on the four-wheeler, he rides up on the four-wheeler, and he has the cure with him. So he, like, cures Angus, cures Henry. It's epic. So they get back to the barn, and all the sheep have like joined together. They've gathered up and they've gotten into the barn together. I mean, it's nighttime. I guess it's their instinct. Anyway, they're all in the barn and they're sitting there watching them, and they're all farting like crazy. Like, it's ridiculous. And they're like talking about how bad it stinks and whatever. And it's hilarious. So they're sitting there and they're seeing this with the sheep farting, and then Angus shows up and he is so messed up. Like, he's been tore up by the helicopter, or by the plane, and then he's like been turned back human, but he's showing up to go back to the sheep because he wants to get reinfected.
Angus, it's over.
Okay, so I'm gonna use this shade here and just pat this under here. Help with my horrible under eye business. Next, I'm going to put on my blush. This is the blush, the different color blush that they had. This is from Five Below. These different little shades of it. So, Angus shows back up at the barn, and he's all like naked, you know, from getting like totally messed up by the plane. And he's just, he's gross. Anyway, so he's like wanting to get reinfected. He's like going into the barn of all the sheepies, and his favorite pretty sheepy is in there, and she's like, hey. She runs over there. She totally bites him, but she bites him in his business. It's epic. Totally what he deserved, which is great. So he gets bit. And so then Henry, he lights his lighter, and because the sheep are just farting up a storm. They're just massive gas buckets. They're in there farting like crazy. So they throw the match into the barn, and they like dive for it. And the barn completely just blows up, killing Angus and killing all the nasty creepy sheep and all of it all at once. It's awesome. Gotta have a movie with a big blow up scene, right? So that happens. Okay, next I'm gonna take, back with this, I'm gonna use a little bit of the brown, or the darkest color, and put it along the bottom of my lip, just to, you know, create the illusion I have more lip than I do. So, there's that. So, it's done. The barn is blown up. The sheep are dead. Angus is dead. And it's, you know, daylight. And so they're curing people. They're curing Grant, who is just mentally messed up over, like, everything he went through and how he ate meat while he was a sheepy, or a were-sheepy. Also, this, I got this on Temu also, this lip liner. And I So yeah, I use this. It's called Baby Your Lips. I get it from Walmart. It's pink. It has sparklies, and it's just a chapstick actually. So it goes on smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's basically translucent. I mean, with the pink tint, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And your lips, you know, they stay moist. But anyway, so conclusion to the movie, they tease poor experience. They tease her about, you know, eating some mountain oysters. If you know, you know. And that's the end. And I think this movie is the best. I love it. I could watch it a million times. It's hilarious. I got my wig cap on and my wig band on. And I'm going to wear the hat with the wig on it already today. So that's that. And this is me for the day. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you come back to see the next movie because I'm gonna do another one. This is fun. Bye guys.